I've just come out of the dentist practice. I've seen Dr. Pena just now. She is my kind of regular dentist. And the idea was that after, do you remember last week or 2-3 weeks ago before we went to Ohio, my other wonderful dentist, Dr. Oliver, has extracted, as it's in the lingo, these two wisdom teeth up here. And this was now just a quick checkup with her to see if everything is healed. And my understanding was when Dr. Oliver did this procedure down here, when the tooth broke, those gory pictures that I showed you there, he had to put a couple of stitches into the bottom so that the bleeding would stop and that the healing would kind of progress. And I was under the impression that those stitches would have to come out today. But apparently what happened is he used stitches, or he used suture that was kind of self-dissolvable. And that's kind of cool because that means nothing had to be removed anymore, which is, you know, exactly what we want. So how the way that happened is, like, I went to see somebody called Rodrigo first, and he had a quick look and he says, hey, there's no more stitches left. So that's very exciting. I love the idea that I had kind of expected there to be something that would make my tissue raw again and all that, but none of that was necessary. So I'm very grateful for that. And just when I was on my way out, Dr. Pena came in and she says, oh, I was a bit delayed with had coffee with Dr. Oliver and a couple of other colleagues, and men, you know what they're like, it takes forever. So anyway, she came back. I just bumped into her on my way out, and she said, I'd like to have a quick look if you don't mind. And I said, of course we can do that. So I go back into the little treatment room, lie down again, and Dr. Pena puts her coat on and has a quick look, and she's speaking Spanish with Rodrigo about what she saw, which I didn't quite understand, but it was all very pleasant. And what she said was, and this is why I'm telling you the story, what she said was, wow, you've healed incredibly well. Usually we don't see this amount of healing in that short a time. And I thought that was amazing news. That was marvelous news. So she was very happy with the way this is healed by itself. I didn't actually tell her, I didn't mention this, that I didn't take any of the antibiotics that Dr. Oliver had prescribed to me. I think while we were in Ohio, I took a couple because I thought maybe this is a little bit puffy. So I think I took 2, but that was kind of a week or 2 after this extraction actually happened. So yes, very interesting feedback. And my first response to that was, hey, I'm a healer. My body is healing well. I have this amazing capacity to heal. And I think that is something that did me well during my whole cancer treatment. And I think this is exactly what the point of my story is, that we all have this amazing ability to do that. It's not obviously not a conscious process as such, but it is our bodies that have this amazing capacity to heal. And I've often thought about this, that when surgeons make an incision and remove something and then they just put it back together, all they're really doing is they're putting the pieces in place, don't they? They make sure that 2 pieces of skin or 2 pieces of bone or whatnot are in the correct position, and then they use some kind of gadget to hold that in place so that it doesn't move. And then they do nothing really. I mean, I'm not minimizing what surgeons can do. Don't get me wrong. That is absolutely not what I'm saying. But this old saying goes, doctors don't heal bodies, bodies heal bodies. And I think that's the point of my little story here, that this is a great example of the fact that really the body takes care of making sure things get repaired when they need to be repaired. And surgeons and doctors, they kind of make sure that this happens in a controlled fashion, and that the 2 pieces that you put next to each other kind of heal where they need to heal, and not in a way that you don't want that to happen. And it's just one of those things. Our bodies have this amazing capacity to do that, and some more than others. And I think it also depends on how much energy you have left for your body to focus on such vital tasks. So I'm thinking, we've just come back from a trip, we're all extremely chilled out, and I don't know, my life, it feels like my life is very much in balance right now. I remember that when I was working a lot, that wasn't always the case. So the energy that you need to I don't know, just run your life. I was running a lot from my home to a tube station. I was working a lot. I was working hard. So all that takes kind of energy, and doing so means that you don't have that much energy left for the body to do other things. And an example is always that you're kind of on the cusp of getting a cold, and you're just about holding it together, and then you go on holiday, you go on vacation, or you have a few days off, and then that cold seemingly comes out, and it's almost like your body is saying, well, I have to deal with this. And in so sometimes a cold really comes out and you feel not so good, but there's only so much energy that you have. And I think if we give the body more energy for many of these tasks that he needs, then we will all get better. And I don't know, this is something that I feel reminded of. We only have a limited amount of energy, so make sure it gets diverted into the correct channels. So if you've had anything that needs mental healing or physical healing, do give yourself some time and some kind of, what shall I call it, some off time to let the body regenerate mentally as well as physically. And the more you support the fact that your body can very much do that, and the more you believe in the fact that your body can do that, I believe it's got a very beneficial effect there on literally all of us. And I don't know, my wisdom tooth extraction story was one of those things. For me, this is kind of normal that this is healed, because I've had experience last year with how well this healed, and this was literally no problem at all. And same dentist did it, same dentist said more or less the same thing, but at that time I was getting cancer treatment, so it was kind of surprising to everyone that I have healed that well. But now, a year after cancer treatment, it's the same thing. This is healed extremely well, and I'm super grateful for that, of course. So anyway, that's my little story that I'm sharing here with you today. We've just come back from our trip from Ohio. We were very happy to go back into the warmth. It's one of those things when you've not had the warmth for a couple of weeks, you think, whoa, actually this is really nice to have that. But only yesterday, I believe the thermometer kind of dropped. And it's one of those things here in Miami Beach, or in Miami, in this whole South Florida region, that my friends always say, well, what are you whinging about? It's if you say it's 20 degrees centigrade outside, or kind of 74 degrees Fahrenheit outside, there's really nothing to complain about. It is the end of November after all. But what you mustn't forget is that the day before, it was 86 degrees Fahrenheit or 27, 28 degrees centigrade. So sometimes what catches us out here is not the fact that it got colder during these months. What does catch us out is that the speed at which that happens. So in Europe, in Northern Europe, I remember that after September, October, temperatures kind of just gradually go down, and you have a bit of time to prepare yourself for that. So a temperature drop of like 10 degrees, that is something that's a bit of a shock. So you walk out in shorts and flip-flops, and not only is it cold, it's not 2-3 degrees cold, it's like 10 degrees colder. And that is kind of where the shock comes in. So yes, that was a bit surprising for us over the last couple of days. It has a tendency to either now stay like that, get a little bit warmer, get a little bit colder again. But yeah, this is basically how winter comes in Miami Beach. It's basically just, it's like a switch that just gets flicked, and then it's cold from then on. So we'll see what else happens. It's now the end of November. It's not really surprising that it is as cold as it is, but it's one of those things. I have to wear a jacket, I have to wear long trousers all of a sudden, but we've had a bit of practice there in Ohio to get acquainted with that part of the wardrobe again. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. I totally forgot to mention something. I just got a coffee here, actually. I totally forgot to mention it. I had a bit of a busy day today already. I've had a blood test this morning, spontaneously. It's something that Dr. Keller had arranged for me. I'm going to see him next week, I believe on Friday. And he said, a week before you come and see me, please go and do a blood test in our practice so that we can keep an eye, of course, on those synthroid levels. So I've been taking synthroid for the new and improved dose of 1.25 0.5 micrograms, I believe, per pill at 7 a.m. in the morning on an empty stomach for about 45 to 50 days now. I don't actually have the exact number on me right now, but yeah, after about a month and a half, he said we wanted to check in if this new dose is what I need or if we need to increase it even further. I feel very good about that, so it's a good time to check in really and see how it affects me. I feel in top form, really. That is all I can say at the end of November 2018, and this, you know, it's a good way to monitor my condition, I guess. So yeah, new Synthroid, and we'll see what Dr. Keller has to say about that. So it's a very, very important busy day. Oh yeah, while I was there, I also received, check it out, a flu jab. That's very cool. So I'm now, I guess, prepared for the flu season, for the coming flu season. I had one last year, well actually at the beginning of this year, in January, at my old doctor's practice there. It's one of the few valuable things that I got from that practice. So now I've got one from the old doctors, now I've got one from the new doctors. I'm kind of, you know, that should all be good. Oh yes, so the blood test is going to be checking the levothyroxine levels. But the other thing that I did do there was I left a urine sample, which was interesting. I don't know what that's going to show, but as soon as I have the results, of course, I will let you know. One of those things, another thing for the website I've been meaning to do for a while, perhaps this is a good reminder for myself here. While I was in the waiting area, I did update the front page of supersurvivor.tv to include this video diary now and the podcast. So that's now on the front page. Needs a few finishing touches there, but yeah, that's good to use that waiting time for that. It is a full-time job, isn't it, looking after this? So yes, as soon as I get a chance, and this is something I have been promising in the book, I didn't get around to doing it yet, about my blood values over time. I've been meaning to put those together and put them on the website so that you can get a little impression of how all these important blood values that they've taken over the last 3 years have affected me, where they once have been and where they are now going. So I believe that was it. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.